not of the National Federation Party, but my view. I was just sitting down here wondering, hearing the presentations, whether we are coming out of the dictatorship or we are sliding deeper into the dictatorship. By saying that, I would like to remind particularly the Elections Office and the Ministry of Local Government that when the 2013 Constitution was done, it was unilaterally imposed upon the people of Fiji. And so was this dehoned electoral system. And a majority of the political parties in this country had made a submission in 2016 highlighting 142 anomalies which needed to be redressed in the Electoral Act to ensure that our elections are free and fair, and more so, credible. What happened was, there were 5 or 6, I think 4, minute submissions out of that 142, which I would label as editorial changes, which were encompassed or adopted in the electoral reform. The rest of them, they remain pending. And that has forced political parties, politicians who value parliamentary democracy, human rights, rule of law and good governance, to contest elections under the present system and the present constitution under protest. And here, we are making rules to align the local government elections now in line with that draconian constitution, with that unfair electoral system, is something that is totally detrimental to the ideals and principles of democracy. That is the first point I would like to submit. These proposals are prematurely cooked up. Why I'd say that it is prematurely cooked up is because the parties in government do not have the ownership of these proposals. How can you expect parties which are in government today, which were opposing the constitution, opposing this electoral system, opposing the ideals and principles on which this systematic constitutional dictatorship has been built in this country, to go into government and change from white to black and say, no, what we were opposing in the previous years is now good for us because we are in government. No way. Whom are we trying to kid here? I would also like to say that these proposals fall far short of liberalizing and modernizing the local government in this country. Because what we are talking about, we are not looking at 20, 30, 50 years ahead, as the act that was done in 1972 had looked. And that is why it lasted for a long time, because there were people with vision who were our members of parliament, our government, our opposition at that time. They had no, what you might say, political mistrust. They came up with open hearts to deliver us a law that has lasted 51 years. Have we ever thought that a law that has lasted 51 years, which has been able to deliver local government to our people, to generate democracy, to groom leaders, to ensure that councils be of service to our people? What is wrong to sweep it aside and come up with something that is a joke to our democracy, a joke to the ideals and principles of democracy, and just round up everyone here in this country who is living now in towns and cities like ships and consign them to the dustbins of constitutional dictatorship. That is not war. That is what the central government is totally opposed to. It is the declared policy. The Other thing is that the restrictions that is being placed on candidates, on qualifications of candidates, qualifications of voters. What is this? We must make sure that we work towards participatory democracy. We should not work towards a democracy where we start creating exclusive clubs, and where we try to exclude sections of people and say, no, you cannot fight elections because of this thing. No, you can participate because of this thing. You know, we are heading in the Indonesian direction. In Indonesia, the law is so draconian that even if you are a registered voter, unless and until the supervisor of election invites you to vote, you cannot go and vote by yourself. You need to have an invitation letter. That is the direction we are moving. So this is a very dangerous step that has been taken up. And I would like to question that what is our government going to do about this? Given the pronouncements that they have made, the three parties in government, and the type of proposal that has come before us, which I would say is not a product of the People's Coalition government, but it has been inherited by the coalition government from its predecessor. The architect, the silent hand of the devil, is very clear in these proposed amendments. Madam Chair, I would like to make another important point. You cannot shut me up.
I'm not shutting you up, sir, but
because
if you can please confine your feedback and your suggestions
around that is what I'm doing. 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 You cannot shut up people. This is democracy.
I'm not shutting up people.
Yeah, so you must bear with it. You must listen. You know, we have had enough. We have had enough. It is after 16 years we have got this right to stand here and speak up our heart and mind, and we are going to do that. We are not going to go home empty-handed tonight. Let me make it very clear. The other thing that I was talking about, wait, listen, is that the words that you are talking about. If you have words, and then you say you are going to have single member constituencies there, and then you are saying that you are going to elect councillors based on proportional representation, because the principle of one vote, one value is not being reflected under the current law and will be reflected under the new law that you are proposing. When you look at the ballot paper that was being done, right, in the previous elections, the voter, it is totally wrong to say that the voter went to do block voting. They had the luxury to choose, to tick for the candidates for whom they wanted to tick. And that is why, when the final tally was being done, there was variation in votes between the different candidates representing the different parties and those standing as independents. So that is again wrong. That is again wrong. It does not equate up to the point that you are trying to make. And the last thing that I want to say is that why are we shutting up the civil society? Why are we shutting up the ratepayers? Why are we shutting up the citizens association? Why are we trying to exclude people? Why the law is only specifying that there should be political parties and independents contesting the local government elections? No way. These are some very serious or fundamental, anomalies in the proposed formation of this amendment to the legislation, and that is something that needs to be vigorously opposed by every right-thinking citizen of this country. As President Reagan said, the duty of the government is to serve the people, not to regulate their lives. Thank you very much.
I'm the landowners. I want to respond, my friend is talking there, because you're coming from the National Party. We come here to put everybody together and work together. You come here to criticize about the government for today. The previous government, there are lots of corruptions, I want to tell you. That's why they come this government to do something that can go together to the good future. That's all. You don't come here to criticize the government. The government, they will be passed away. That's why they've been elected out, because they don't have anything. Put it together for this country. You come and criticize it again. Who are you? Yeah. You come here and work together. If you don't like this place, go back where you come from. Yeah. This is under the elections. We want to work together and do something together. You come here and criticize. I don't like it. Yeah. Sarah.
Can you take us through your question?
Election. Talk about elections.
My name is Joe Waniwai from the SODELPA. I'm also representing myself here, not the SODELPA. The first thing I would like to ask is about the extension to the 4-year term. Before, we used to have 3 years, then the 5-year term, the national government. That was being done because they should have an overlap. Because once the transition councils comes in to replace, there's still a government in place. They don't have to be abruptly at one point of time. Both of them, the government and the local government, resign or out of office. There should be some succession within the time limit. So we don't allow that if the national government have 4 years, the local government should have 4 years. They should have some lapse. If the national government have 4 years, then the local government should have 3 years. That they should have the lapse there. That they should have a continuity in transition. Unless, otherwise we'll have 4-year term, both of that moment, at the same year, both the local government and the national government change. That always cause a lot of trouble. Secondly, I would like to see the independent of council to be having a meaningful purpose in the law. I think in 2005, for many of us who were here, there were a lot of infighting between the ministers and the council. And there were a lot of disruptions. If we have given the power to our local government, let them run on our behalf. Because actually we were the ratepayers. But most of the time, a lot of times, the politics always comes in between. We know that there were a lot of infighting from 2005. That was maybe the cause why the Fiji first take out the local government. Maybe they promoted them or motivated them because there was so much infighting between the local government and the national government. So maybe the law needs to be amended or inserted some independence, some meaningful purpose for the local government to do things that are empowered by the voters or the ratepayers without interference from the national government. We would like to see that. Secondly, some have mentioned about the residents. I would like to see the 12 months continuance because to have some meaningful or credibility of the voters. If we have 3 months, this is like a motel, a hotel. You just come for vote and you go back because we are talking about only residents. We would like to have a meaningful people to take ownership of their council. This is like when we do 3 months, it's just like coming for a holiday. So give some meaningful for this. And for qualifications, don't make it so hard for people to participate. As my friend Bimal said, let's make it a participatory democracy. The last time we see the law from the election office perspective, just see the outcome of your election results. In 2018, 177,000 did not vote. In 2022, 254,000 did not vote. That is the type of election model that you people are using. People are not participating in it. And again, you're trying to put a lot of conditions on it. Who would you like to come to vote? Elderly? or from the All People's Zone. If you see the National have 234,000 did not vote, that's a significant proportion of people who did not vote. That's why a lot of our people in the parliament do not have mandate or representative of the quota of the voters to speak on our behalf. Let's make it very participatory. Let's allow easy participation for our people, for our youth. Because majority of the 234,000 are our youth, 18 years old. Even if you lower your age from 21 to 18, most of them still did not vote. Does not give a purpose, a meaningful purpose. It's just like a propaganda or political ploy. For affirmative action, congratulations. It comes that's affirmative action, but I always give cautious about giving affirmative actions, especially for reserving seats. Once we open it, we may allow other proportions of the community. LGBTIQ might be also claiming their portion too. That's when we open a can of worms. If we go for merit, we go for merit. One thing I always make an argument for women, for affirmative action. Even the women themselves are voting for the males. Candidates. They are not voting for the female. The female NGOs or the CSOs should make an advocacy. Let the women vote for the women. We have about 50%, 50-50 representation in the voting. If the women choose the women voters choosing the men, that's it. That's democracy. But we can be putting all the conditionality of having women participants. Once we open it, these genderless people will be coming in and demanding their seats too. Once we open the affirmative action. And for candidates, I would like to put into the law for them to declare their interest when they come into councils. What are the business interests they have? Where are they serve? We would like to be very accountable and transparency. We would like to have also a great participation of the ratepayers, because 90% of the revenue used by the councils are paid by the ratepayers. These are the people who are the key stakeholders, and sometimes they are not even represented in the council if we don't put the conditions on it. If we have the landowners, maybe we would like to have the landowners representative in it. We have that equitable representation in the council. Thank you so much for giving my time.
And I just want to add, one is the overlap in terms of registration from general election to council. We just had the national elections, and those who turn 18 this year then? Well, see, you haven't stipulated that. So what you're basically saying, if you're not registered there, you can't be registered on the other side. So you might want to make that clear. The other one is in terms of the mushrooming squatter settlements that we have. Previously we had less, now we have more, but yet we find that many, I'm not making a case about it, but there are cars lined all over those squatter settlements, and everyone's got a TV and antennas and everything else. There's nothing wrong with that. But maybe a assessment needs to be made in some of those areas as to why rates can't be paid. So that's the other one. The next one is, I think, like I said, I agreed with the 6 months to 12 months. You need to be a resident of a place, otherwise it's so easy to develop voter banks. The next one would be, I don't think we should be using the proportional representation system, because you need a threshold. And so in most cases, if you do not have a popular vote or a popular party, you will find that we will not have proper representation from the people that we would like to see and who may not have that backup. Because we've already said we don't want the 5%, so why can't we just go back to first past the post? It's a simple thing, because we're not running a general election, we're running a municipality, and that gives everyone an equal opportunity, whether you're an independent, whether you're a ratepayer. I still believe also that we need to have all those groups that will look after the area and who should have a say, whether it's your local neighborhood watch or whatever. They all should have a right or a say, and also to be able to participate. So that's the threshold as well I'm talking about, as well as the first past the post. And the one that I do have here, I believe in 2007, 2008, a review was made. A review was done on the local council and also the of the Act, I believe. We have not seen that or heard about it. It's not been tabled, neither has it been presented to Parliament, and I think a whole group of people were involved in it at that point in time, which included ratepayers, which included all kinds of people, I believe. And I believe we're just redoing the work again when a lot of people have spoken. It's like our constitution being thrown out after 7,000, people were consulted. So I'd just like to know what happened to that 2007-2008 review and whether that could be looked at again to see what can be done and what were the proposals, and if it could be tabled for all the stakeholders that were involved at that point in time. I don't know if that can go to Parliament too. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Agwan, for your suggestions. And I think we're taking note of most of the suggestions made. And with regards to that reform, it was called a local government reform? Review committee, sorry. It was around the period you're saying. It did go to cabinet, but thereafter it was not made a public document.
Change in constitution.
No, it wasn't a change in constitution. I think it was a decision of cabinet. We need to go back to cabinet to ask for the document to be made a public document. But we're not reinventing. We're actually picking up a lot of things that were mentioned in there, and that would also help us look at the overall review of the entire Act, and also linking it with other acts like the town planning and the Subdivision of Lands Act. So a lot of that is, I think, even was made, a suggestion made where, I can't remember who did it, that how the councillors should come in and work with the ministry to look at the further review of the entire Act. So there are suggestions in it. We're actually working with it has been asked actually for the document to be released, and we're just looking at going back to cabinet for the release of it.
Can I just add, if I may? I think at the last meeting I did mention why were we being regressive, using the same systems and everything when we're in 2023. Why couldn't we have a forward-looking plan instead of using the old systems? And I do understand the reason why we're using that, because it is a tried and tested one. But, after waiting for 17 odd years or whatever, why? I know we're rushing. I know that was the mandate. I know that was part of the promises. But, maybe if that could also be taken back to look at the bigger picture, because we'd like to see a 50-year plan, something that continues rather than every 4 years it changes. And also the new boundaries that we need. We're expanding, and how do we reduce the work with today's technology? So these are some of the things I think we mentioned at that last meeting, and I'd like to just reiterate that, because I just feel, we can do so much in today's day and age with a number of people around, whether it's your, the town fathers or city, them or the planners and everybody else. And they have been really good proposals in the past as well. Why can't they also be brought forward so that they could be reviewed in today's time? Thank you.